Hello, my name's Darren Bugg and today I'm testing out the new Super Rooms at Travelodge. Now I stay in a lot of Travelodges. I've stayed in nearly every Travelodge in London, but I've never used one of the new Super Rooms, so I thought today I would just see what they were like, pay a little bit extra and give my first impressions of whether it's worth paying the extra money for the Super Rooms. So I'm going to begin by just giving you a tour of the room and show you what you actually get that's different from a standard Travelodge. Well, first thing up on the wall is Samsung television, which, to be perfectly honest, doesn't seem to me to be that much better than the standard TV that you normally get. It's perhaps a little bit bigger. It's a 32-inch and it is quite a nice Samsung, but I've seen these in the standard rooms in Travelodge, so I don't think you're really getting anything particularly extra that you would get in a standard Travelodge. Now, one of the little gimmicks that they do advertise about these rooms is this snazzy little thing, the Lavazza Mio Modo coffee machine. Goodness knows why, I don't understand why they've chosen this particular model of coffee machine, because it's almost impossible to get the flipping pods for it. Everybody seems to have these Nespresso machines now, and they're really stingy. If you look on the tray that they give you, you just get a couple of pods. I don't know if they'll give me some more if I go to reception, but all you get is like a couple of these kind of decaffeinated, a couple of the normal. They give you the standard coffee as well, this kind of stuff that you'd get normally in a Travelodge, and a few decaffeinated, which I never use, completely pointless, sugar, artificial sweetener, all that kind of thing. But yeah, they give you this Lavazza coffee machine, which produces reasonable quality coffee, but as I say, only a couple of pods. So what I had to do was actually go to my local branch of John Lewis to buy a box full of them, because there's very few places actually sell them now. Most supermarkets don't sell them, so you end up having to go and buy them online, or as I say, I got those from John Lewis. It's one of the few shops that actually do sell Lavazza coffee pods. They give you a few little extras. You get a couple of these Kit Kat things, hot chocolate, which you don't normally get in a normal Travelodge, so you get a couple of those, a couple of Kit Kats. I'll try that a bit later on, I think, after I've had a few pints. The chair that they give you, the office chair, is a little bit nicer than the standard chair. You normally just get a horrible little plastic one, but they give you one of these, sort of like a swivel chair, which is quite nice. Fancy light, one of these LED lights, which is a bit better than the normal light. Desk is pretty much the same. They don't provide the wine or the vodka, by the way. That's mine. I had to bring that with me. Turning around, I'll show you the bed. The bed, I think, is pretty much the same as the standard beds. The only difference is they have a different bit of fabric on there. It's not the hideous red and blue colour that they normally have on Travelodge. But apart from that, the bed head's pretty much the same. One little feature, which is completely pointless, is they give you these extra USB charging points. So you do get them in some of the rooms anyway, but most people take the chargers with them. If you've forgotten your charger, fair enough, but it's quite handy because there's a lot of them. I think there's about 6 in the room, so if you've got a lot of mobile phones, I mean, I'm charging 2 things at the moment there. But most people just take a charger with them anyway. Comfy chair, which is quite nice. That's a bit nicer than the standard chair that you'd get normally in a Travelodge. You get the usual wardrobe-y thing, pretty much the same as you'd get in a normal room. A couple of extra features here. There is an iron, which I'll never use, but there's one there anyway in case anybody wants one, and the ironing board, which I believe I'm right in saying that you can borrow them from reception anyway if you're in a standard room, but they're provided in these super rooms, so you get the iron and the ironing board as well. But the actual wardrobe thing is pretty much the same. Usually you get this in all hotels, very few coat hangers, so you end up having to bring your own. You can stay in the Savoy or the Ritz and you still won't get enough coat hangers. I find this is always a problem no matter how good the hotel. So basically the desk and the wardrobe pretty much the same, but you do get the ironing board, you get the iron, you get a fancy swivel chair, and you get this extra coffee machine and a bit of coffee and Kit Kats and Galaxy hot chocolate. But as I say, they are a bit stingy on the pods, so you probably will have to buy your own, and good luck with actually finding them, because as I say, there are very few shops sell these Lavazza coffee pods. They're mainly the Nespresso, so you'll have to go somewhere like John Lewis, or alternatively buy them online, or beg them at reception. They might give you some. Okay, and then the comfy chair, which I think is a nice touch. The bed, I think, is actually the same bed that you get normally, so the only difference is this this little runner, which is a different colour. Incidentally, the whole colour scheme is different from a standard room. So the carpets are this kind of grey colour. The bed runner thing is a grey colour. Different coloured walls. You've got so that sort of hideous purple they use is quite a nice blue and very light grey. It is actually a very nice colour scheme this. I might actually paint my house this colour. It's quite a nice sort of blue and grey, so that works quite well. Telly, probably a bit better, I'm not sure, but I'm sure I've had similar TVs in other travel lodges. Another feature which some people find very handy is a hairdryer, which in better quality hotels, if you stay in like a 3 or 4 star hotel, they'll usually give you a hairdryer anyway. I love having a hairdryer, so I take one with me, a little travel hairdryer. But if you can't be bothered to do that, then there is one provided. If you stay in a standard Travelodge room, then they'll give you a hairdryer anyway. You just ask them at reception, but nice to have it in the room. A couple of other minor differences. There's a little picture on the wall here of I like this picture as well. I might have to take this home. It's a kind of a London map type thing, so that is rather nice, I have to say. Right, on to the bathroom. Now the bathroom is interesting because the bathroom is actually pretty much the same as what you get in a standard Travelodge room. So the wash basin is pretty much the same, the toilet there is pretty much the same. You've got the mirror, the bit nicer finish. So for example, you've got this sort of nice wooden bench here to put your toiletries. Towels pretty much the same. There's one of those hideous kind of soap dispensers which are always empty. I mean, this is supposed to be a super room, it's still empty. They never bother filling them. And then that shampoo dispenser there, but most people just bring their own shampoo and soap. The shower curtain is different colour scheme, but again, who cares about that? It's, well, I mean, anything's an improvement on the kind of hideous colour scheme you get normally, that kind of purple and blue and red that they normally use. The shower is, now this is an interesting one. I have tested it out, and I think it's probably the same shower that you get in a normal room, but the one thing that is different is the shower head, and it gives you lots of different options. It is quite powerful as well, so I don't know whether this is just because it's this room it's a power shower, or if it's just that it's a better shower head, but it gives you these different pulsating things. I'll just give you a quick demonstration of how it works. Probably get my camera all wet in the process. Turn that on, and you've got a little button underneath, and you can do that, do that, do that. You get different shower effects. I'm going to turn that off now before I wreck my expensive camcorder. So anyway, I'll put that down there. So yeah, pretty much a typical shower room that you'd get with your mirror, and pretty much similar to a normal room. You've got your shaver point. So really the only major difference in the bathroom is the shower curtain and this snazzy shower head. It does seem to be quite powerful though. Maybe the shower's a bit more powerful. A nicer floor as well. Probably one of the best things about these super rooms is actually this thing, the air conditioning. And maybe I'm just saying that today because it's such a hot day. This is being recorded on one of the hottest days of the year, but this is great. Normally well, I say it's great, it looks great if it works. There we go, press the button to turn it on. It's a rather nice tune, and it works really well. It's very, very effective. I've been playing around with this morning, and it does get the room really cold. Normally in a Travelodge in the summer they just give you a fan, and last summer I stayed in a Travelodge in London. It was very, very, very hot, and the fan was pretty useless, so I had to have it on all night. But this air conditioning is great. I think it's probably worth the extra money just to get this air conditioning. The only other thing I've noticed that's different is the door. It's a much nicer finish, and it has one of those snazzy style card entries where you actually just touch the card. So it gets really frustrating when you stick your card into the slot and it doesn't work, and you have to go back down to reception and get them to replace the card and all that business. It's not like that. It's one of the ones you get in the posher hotels where you actually touch the card against the little pad, and it seems to work perfectly, so that's really nice. So I suppose the question really is it all worth it? Is it worth the extra money? Why have Travelodge done this in the first place? I think they're doing something quite clever actually. What I think Travelodge are doing is giving people the choice, because they've always had this reputation for being quite cheap and cheerful, tend to be used a lot by business people. Which is why I use Travelodge a lot. If I was going for a holiday or something, I'd stay somewhere like a Novotel or a Hilton or something like that. But when I'm on business trips to London, I just want somewhere cheap and cheerful, somewhere that's clean and simple and nice and easy. And so I usually choose Travelodges, and I love them. I mean, I stay in them all the time. They're cheap, but I think what Travelodge are doing is quite a clever idea. They're trying to sort of charge a premium price, but still give people the option of having the cheap if they want. So you basically got the choice. You can pay extra for these super rooms, or you can just have the standard room if you just want somewhere to sleep and you're not too bothered about the standard. This is, I'd say, more style over substance. Most of the extra things you get for your extra money are just cosmetic, different coloured carpet, different coloured bed runner, different coloured shower curtain. You do get a few functional things which I think are worth it, like the hairdryer. I normally have to take one with me. If I stay in one of these rooms, I don't. Coffee machine is a bit gimmicky. The coffee's quite nice. I just wish they weren't so stingy with the pods, because as I say, I've had to make a special trip to my local John Lewis to actually buy some of the pods, simply because they don't provide enough. TV, as you can see, it's pretty much what you get normally. It might be slightly bigger. It's a Samsung. They have these really, really annoying features about these TVs. They're stuck on the wall, and if you do what I like to do, which is take a USB stick with films on and watch them in the evening, it's quite hard to actually get your USB stick into the TV. What you have to do is go right round the side here, and if you've got very long slender fingers, then you might just be able to pop your USB stick in there, and it does work. I've tested it out. So in most film formats, you know, your MP4s and all the others, if you want to take some films from home and put them on a USB stick, as long as your fingers are long enough, you can slip it into that USB, but it is a bit fiddly. But apart from that, there are a few functional extras. You've got quite a nice chair. I do like that chair, because normally I'd watch television in the evening in bed, and it's quite nice to have a comfy chair, so that's a nice feature. The swivel chair is also a very nice feature if you take your laptop and you want to do a bit of work. You don't want one of those horrible plastic bucket chairs, so that's nice. Coffee machine a bit gimmicky, TV not much different, and the other features are pretty much the same. The desk, the wardrobe. I mean, they've got one of these things. Goodness knows what that's for. I suppose you're supposed to stick your newspapers in it or something like that. But a lot of this is just adding a bit of cosmetic gimmickry to charge extra. I think my advice would be, it's probably worth paying a tenner extra. If it's 10 quid extra a night, then fair enough. The size of the rooms are the same. I've stayed in this particular Travelodge. This is in West London, in Zone 2, so it's not far from the centre of London. And to be totally honest with you, at the price, I can't really complain. I think I've I've spent about 80 quid for 2 nights with early check-in, and to be perfectly honest, I think it was worth paying the extra. So yeah, I would, in answer to my original question, I would choose to pay the extra. I think for another tenner, it's probably worth the extra money. Any more than that, probably not. You're not getting a lot extra. If they were to charge much more, then people would start staying somewhere like Jury's Inn or maybe Novotel, although they can be quite expensive. But once you get into a sort of different price point, the sort of the 4-star type price point, then you probably wouldn't stay in a Travelodge anyway. So these aren't ever going to be competitor hotels for the likes of the better Ibis or the Novotel, the Jury's Inn, the Hiltons, Hampton by Hilton, all those kind. I think the better 4 stars, the Park Plaza, those sort of hotels, which I've stayed in the past, they cost a bit more, but you do get a completely different quality. I would say what Travelodge have achieved here is basically something that's a bit better than what they normally provide at a small extra cost. So as long as they keep that cost down, as long as they keep it reasonably similar to the standard price, then I think they're onto a good thing. I think a lot of people will try these rooms out, as I've done today, and they'll say, yeah, it's actually probably worth paying another 10 quid for the extra features. I mean, just for the coffee machine and the telly and the swivel chair and the comfy chair, it's worth another 10 quid extra anyway. If they start charging much more than that, then I think people will say, well, there's no point. What's the point of staying in a Travelodge? One thing I did notice, all of the super rooms are on the same floor. They're all on the second floor in the same area, which is a good thing, because I've noticed sometimes in Travelodges you can tend to get people in the room next to you who you don't particularly want in the room next to you, put it that way. I think that's a nice way of putting it. So maybe you get a better class of people on this floor, I don't know. I've got a nice view of my car in the car park outside as well. But yeah, I think in answer to the question, I think it is worth paying another 10 quid to get a super room here at Travelodge. I wouldn't pay any more. It is a bit gimmicky, it's a bit cosmetic, but yeah, the rooms are nicer, and for another 10 quid, I'd say yeah, go for it. It's worth a little bit of extra money, and good move by Travelodge. Maybe they'll attract a slightly different type of clientele.